Hi everyone, welcome to Elite Tutorials. If you're not a part of Elite Tutorials and want the images of the textbook, you can call us on 9699599299 and we shall email the images to you. Right? In today's lecture, we'll be starting with chapter number 3, that is elements, compounds and mixtures. Now, as we go with the chapter, if you have any doubts and difficulties, you may jot that down and we shall solve that in the live doubt solving sessions. Right? Okay, with that we start our chapter for today, elements, compounds and mixtures. Okay, now when we talk about elements, compounds and mixtures, all of this come in a category called as matter. So the first thing that we need to study is, for this chapter, what is matter? A quick revision, we've studied that in the first chapter. Matter is anything that can be felt, that is perceived by our senses, has mass and has volume, right? So that is matter. Now whenever we talk about any matter, okay, so everything what we see around us is matter. So we can say matter can be broadly divided into two categories, that is called as living things, living substances and non-living substances. But obviously we all know that living substances would be further categorized as plants and animals. Okay, so that is coming in biology part, so we don't study about that. We are going to more focus on the non-living substances. Now when we talk about these non-living substances again are broadly classified into two substances, that is pure substances and impure substances. Okay, so what do you understand by pure and impure substance? How do I come to know that this is pure, this is impure? So basically by looking at it, okay, so we say diamond is a purest substance. Why? Because it is composed of only carbon atoms and it does not have anything else mixed in it, okay? So it has no impurities. So it is made up of only one kind of substance, right? So I say it's completely pure. Impure means it might have a mixture of a lot of things in it, okay? So basically when I broadly classify pure and impure, I can say that pure substances are made up of only one kind of substance, right? Whereas impure substances are made up of more than one type or more than two types of substances. Okay, so let's more focus on pure substances. In pure substances, I can say pure substances can be further classified into elements and compounds. So today we'll be studying about elements and compounds. And we say impure substances are further classified into mixtures. Right? So we started with matter, then we came down to matter is divided into living and non-living things. Living things, okay, that we already know. Non-living things are again divided into pure and impure. Pure is further divided into elements and compounds, right? So elements we know is a basic unit, okay, which is made up of only one kind of atom. Whereas when we talk about compounds, compounds are made up of two or more different types which are combined in a fixed ratio. Okay, so we are going to talk about elements, compounds, and when I talk about mixtures, mixtures would be categorized as impure substances. So they are a mix of two or more substances that may be present in any ratio. Okay, so I'm sure you've got a broad idea of how matter can be divided. Okay, so you will also find this in your textbook. There's a flow chart of matter, the division of matter. Okay, so in today's video, we'll be focusing more on element only, right? So we'll be talking much more in detail about the element and then going further with the other topics. Okay, so let's start with element. Okay, so what is an element? What is element made up of? How are elements classified? Who brought about the classification of elements? Okay, so there are so many things about an element that we are going to study. So first we start with the definition of an element, okay? So I can say that element is a basic unit of matter, okay? So element is a basic unit of matter and is made of only one kind of atoms, right? So that is your element. Okay, so element is the basic thing, it cannot be broken down further. Okay, so element is very basic, so cannot be broken further. Cannot be broken further into simpler substances. Okay, so I'm sure everybody has understood elements. Okay, now let's think like, okay, what are elements? So we'll be, okay, now do you know any elements? Yes, you must have heard the word carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, all of these are elements, right? So these are classified as elements. But when we are talking about these elements are further classified. Okay, so before we further classify the elements, let's see, as I said, elements are made up of only one kind of atom, so we have to discuss about atoms. What are we discussing about? Atoms. So we say element is made up of atoms, so I can define atom as a basic unit of an element. So let's quickly see what an atom is. I say atom is a basic unit of an element. Right? Okay. So with that, we first will quickly revise what an atom is made up of, and then we go for the further classification of elements. Okay, I'm sure everybody knows what an atom looks like. An atom looks like a center part, that's the nucleus, okay, and then you have the shells around, which are also called as orbits, right? Okay, so the center part, so I can say atom is divided into two parts, that is the first part called as the nucleus and the second part called as the orbits, right? Okay, now what is present in the nucleus? So nucleus is the center part and orbits are the shells, right? Okay, so I can call nucleus as the central part or center of the atom is called as the nucleus. Now what is present in the nucleus? We very well know that protons and neutrons are present in the nucleus. So I say protons and neutrons are present in the nucleus, right? So basically, whenever we are talking about an atom, maximum of the crowding is in the nucleus, right? Because protons and neutrons are present in the nucleus. Okay, let's go further. So what are orbits? Orbits are imaginary parts. Okay, orbits are also called as shells, right? Okay, and electrons would be moving around in orbits. Okay, so I'm sure everybody knows this. Okay, perfect. Okay, now let's quickly see what charges electrons, protons and neutrons have. Okay, so to start with, I start with proton, right? So proton has a positive charge. Proton has a positive charge, and I also call it as, it has unit mass, means the mass is usually taken as 1. Okay, so I'm just quickly telling you how can you represent a proton. Okay, this is also going to be there in your higher standards. Okay, so we say proton is represented with a positive charge and it has mass that is 1. Okay, now so usually you write proton with a positive charge and a unit mass that is 1. Whereas when we talk about electron, electron has negative charge, right? And it has almost no mass, almost, not no mass, but almost no mass. So that's why I call it as negligible mass. So they are very small, very tiny. Okay, so they very tiny, they are running around here and there. Okay, and when we talk about neutrons, neutron have no charge. Okay, so neutral charge or no charge, and unit mass. Okay, so I'm sure you've understood the basic. This is the basic of elements and atoms. Okay, so this was the definition of an element, and we discussed very quickly about the atom. Now what kind of question can be expected over here? They might ask you what are the two parts of, or name the two parts of an atom. So you say nucleus and orbits. What are the subatomic particles? Means the particles which are present inside the atom are called as subatomic particles. So these three are called as subatomic particles. Okay, what are they called as? Subatomic particles. Means what are the small particles which are present in an atom? So that is proton, neutron and electron. Okay, they can also ask you name the charges or give the charges of proton, electron and neutron. So you already have that. Or they can even ask you draw a neat label diagram of an atom. So you can draw this. Okay, now what I have done is, always remember, whenever we are drawing any atom, the total number of electrons what you draw in the shells, that many protons should be present inside the nucleus. This is just a representation. Okay, this is not the accurate atom what I have drawn. Okay, so see, if I am saying that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, means it has 6 protons, it has 6 electrons which are rotating in the shells. Okay, so you have to write 6 protons and also 6 neutrons. Okay, now this what I have drawn is an atom of carbon. Okay, the number of neutrons may not be the same like the protons. Okay, I repeat, number of electrons and protons will be equal. Means how many ever electrons we draw in the outermost shell, that many protons will be written in the nucleus, but the number of neutron may not be the same. So I have given you a simple example of a carbon atom where all 3 of them are 6. So you say number of proton is 6, number of neutron is 6 and number of electron is 6. So you don't go wrong, right? Remember, small hint, proton and neutron will be written in the nucleus and you will be drawing the electrons in the orbits. First, this is the first shell, okay? The one which is close to the nucleus, you draw 2 electrons and the remaining 4 electrons you will be drawing in the second shell, okay? So please remember, so what I have drawn is a carbon atom. Okay, so it has 6 protons, 6 electrons and 6 neutrons. Okay, I hope you have understood this very well. Okay, to be on the safer side. Perfect. So they will ask you to draw an atom and label its parts, so you know what the parts are. Okay, so you say this is the electron. Okay, but make sure you are very careful with the numbers. So with that, we have finished the first thing. I told you we are going to discuss quickly about the element and we are discussing about the atom. Okay, so we finished the first part. Now we move further to the classification of elements. Okay, so if you want to make a note of this, you see most of the definitions are there in the book, but if you want to make a note of this, you can make a quick note of this. Quickly pause the video, jot this down in your notebook, and then you can continue back with the video, right? Okay. Okay, so I'm sure you have jotted down the topic. Okay, now I told you that we were talking about the number of electrons. Okay, so the number of electrons that are present in an atom or the number of protons that are present in an atom will be always equal, and that constitutes the atomic number. So this atomic number has formed a very important base of classification of elements. Okay, these elements are classified and they are put in a table which is called as the periodic table. Okay, so before we come down to the periodic table, we'll just quickly understand the different types of elements that are present. Okay, so I'm sure everybody's understood this one. So moving further to classification of elements. So elements are a part of pure substances. So I can say that elements can be further divided into 4 categories. Okay, so let's start with the first category. The first category of elements is called as metals. The second one is called as non-metals. The third one is called as metalloids. And the fourth one is called as noble gases. Right? Noble gases are also called as inert gases. Okay, so let's go one by one. So when we are talking about metals, what are metals? Okay, we very well know, we've studied the characteristics of metals in our lower standards. So we can say that metals have shine. So they have luster or shine. Okay, right? So we say all metals usually have a luster, that's why they shine. So that's called as metallic luster or shine. Okay, whereas non-metals will not have luster. Okay, so no luster. Okay, but diamond is a non-metal which is made up of carbon. So that's an exception. So diamond has a very nice luster. Okay, in spite being a non-metal. And also when I talk about iodine, okay, so diamond, except diamond, that is a form of carbon, and iodine. So iodine is what is present in salt, right? Okay, whereas when we talk, okay, so we'll just quickly compare metals and non-metals, then we'll be discussing about metalloids. Okay, now when we talk, okay, just a very quick thing about metalloids. Metalloids would be having a characteristics of both metals and non-metals. So for that, first we need to know the properties of metals and non-metals. Okay, so I'm sure you understood the first point, that is metals have luster, non-metals do not have luster. Now we come down to the next one, metals. Okay, usually when you see metals are made into sheets, right? So you know the aluminium sheets and all of that, or aluminium foil. So I can call that property as, which can be made into sheets, you know it very well. That property is called as metals are malleable. Means can be made into sheets. So we say metals are malleable, right? Whereas non-metals, but obvious non-metals, most of them when you consider non-metals cannot be made into sheets. You don't have an oxygen sheet, you don't have a nitrogen sheet. Okay, so that's not possible because most of them are existing as gases. Okay, or even if they exist as solids, they cannot be made into sheets. So we say are not malleable. Right? Okay. Now, whenever you talk about any electric circuit, in that you see there are fine wires. But obviously these fine wires are made up of metals. So we can say metals can be drawn into fine wires, and that property is called as ductile. So we say metals are ductile, drawn into thin wires. Right? So they can be drawn into thin wires. So I say non-metals are not ductile. Right? Okay. Metals, because they can be drawn into wires, they will also allow electricity to pass through that. Okay, so we say metals are good conductor of electricity and also heat. Okay, so that's how metal vessels get heated up fast. So we say they are good conductors of heat and electricity. Right? So here we say they are bad conductors of heat and electricity. Okay, now remember exception, very important exception. Okay, have you ever heard the word graphite? Okay, graphite is the lead that is there inside your pencil, is called as graphite. So graphite is a non-metal but a good conductor of electricity. So that's an exception, graphite. Okay, so I'm just writing all the exceptions in red, so that becomes much more easier for us to understand. Also, because metals are existing as hard solids, they have high melting points and high boiling points. So they have high BP and MP, that is boiling point and melting points. Whereas on the contrary, non-metals have low melting points and boiling points. Melting points and boiling points. Okay, but here again there is an exception when we talk about sodium. Okay, sodium and potassium, these are metals but they have low boiling points and melting points. Okay, so that's an exception. That is just one more thing that I've been giving you. Okay, now when we talk about metals, we say because metals are hard, metals have high densities. So non-metals have low densities. Right? Okay, so I'm sure we've understood most of the points. Okay, so the first point, what we said, that metals have luster, metals are malleable, they are ductile, good conductors of heat and electricity, they have high melting and boiling points, high density, and metals usually are remaining alone. Okay, so they don't, means metals can be stable when they are alone. So I call that as monoatomic. What do I call that as? Monoatomic. Don't worry, we'll be studying about this monoatomic, diatomic in after this, okay, when we study molecule. So right now I'm just specifying the word monoatomic. So means when I say sodium, I write sodium, so I say Na, I don't write Na2. So it can exist alone, so that is why it is a monoatomic molecule. Whereas when we talk about non-metals, some non-metals can exist alone, like carbon can exist alone. Whereas oxygen cannot exist alone. So oxygen is always written as O2. So some non-metals can exist alone. Therefore they are called as, they can exist as monoatomic. Whereas some can exist as diatomic. Okay, so these are general properties of metals and non-metals. Okay. Now with that we also studied an exception of, okay, all metals usually I said are solid, okay, except mercury. So mercury is a liquid, okay, it's a liquid non-metal, and also gallium is an exception, okay, that you need to study, that has been given in your textbook. Now also we have to study about zinc. Zinc is a metal but it is non-malleable and non-ductile, okay, so exception over here is zinc. Right? Okay, and also iodine is a non-metal but it has a nice luster, and graphite is a good conductor in spite being a non-metal. Okay, so we have quickly understood the properties of metals and non-metals. Okay, moving further, we talk about metalloids quickly. Metalloids, I said, have the properties of both metals and non-metals. So they have both metallic and non-metallic properties. So they are kind of dual in nature, okay, and they are chemically reactive if compared to noble gases. Okay, so they are chemically reactive. But they also exist as, they exist alone, so they exist as monoatomic. So this is monoatomic, this is monoatomic. Okay, so when we talk about noble gases, what are noble gases? These are the ones which are stable. So they have their maximum number of electrons that can be accommodated in the outermost shell. So they are completely stable and they are all found as gases. That's why the name noble gases. Okay, so all of them are stable and they are found in the atmosphere in the gaseous state. Okay, so they are chemically unreactive. Why? Because they are stable and they always exist as monoatomic. Okay, so I'm sure you've understood the broad category of metals and non-metals and metalloids and noble gases. Okay, now what you need to know for your course pattern, that is till the 8th standard or maybe till the 10th standard, you are only supposed to learn the first 20 elements. Okay, so these first 20 elements, what we are going to study, we have to classify them as metals and non-metals and metalloids and noble gases. Okay, and along with that we will be also learning a few extra examples of metals, non-metals, metalloids. See, metals and non-metals we have a lot in our portion, but we will be, to be on the safer side, we will be learning at least 3 examples or 3 to 4 examples of metalloids and noble gases also. Let's see. I'm sure everybody knows the first 20 elements. Okay, if not, okay, we need to learn the first 20 elements. Okay, so let's see which are the first 20 elements. The first 20 elements what we are going to study is, okay, so I'll write the symbols possibly, so I'm sure everybody knows this, or else we start with the names. The first one is hydrogen, okay, which has a symbol H. Then we have helium, He. Okay, so I'm sure everybody knows this. Okay, lithium, that is Li, beryllium, that is Be. Okay, beryllium is Be, boron is B, carbon is C, nitrogen is N, right, oxygen is O, fluorine is F, and neon is Ne. Okay, so I'm sure you have understood the first 10. Hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine and neon. Okay, yes. So these are the first 10. Okay, now a small hint. Okay, how do you classify them as metals, non-metals, metalloids and noble gases? Okay, out of the first 10, there are 2 noble gases. Okay, helium and neon are noble gases. So first what we do, out of the first 10, I remove the 2 noble gases. That is helium, that is He, and neon, that is Ne. So they both go out as noble gases. Okay, so we have done with helium and neon, right? Okay, out of the first 10, boron is a metalloid. So you remove metalloid, boron, that is B. Okay, so boron gone. Now whichever are remaining, okay, out of the 10, whichever are remaining, which are ending with yum, okay, so let's check. Hydrogen, no. Okay, helium though is already gone, so we are not considering that. Okay, lithium and beryllium are ending with yum, so they get classified as metals. So I say lithium and beryllium are classified as metals. Okay, so the remaining all would be coming as non-metals. Okay, you understood the trick? What you do is you write the first 10. Out of that, remove the 2 noble gases. Which are the 2 noble gases? Helium and neon. Then remove 1 metalloid, that is boron. Okay, so you have to just remember 3. Helium, neon go out as noble gases. Boron goes out as a metalloid. Now what we are left with, all the yums will be classified as metals and remaining all will be classified as non-metals. So lithium and beryllium go as metals, remaining all of them get classified as non-metals. Remember, hydrogen will also be classified as a non-metal. It does have metallic properties, but when we are considering it, it will be considered as a non-metal. So, but it again has dual nature. So right now, if not hydrogen, if we don't consider hydrogen, I say carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, okay, so are considered as non-metals, right? Got that? So that was the classification for the first 10. Okay, we've also written hydrogen over here. Okay, let's see the next 10. So the next 10 I'm writing over here. Okay, so because we don't have much space. Okay, let's see the next 10. So we ended at neon. Okay, so I'm sure you know how to learn this also. Hey, hi, or hey, hello, listen BBC News on Friday night. Okay, hey, hi, listen BBC News on Friday night. Hey, hi, hydrogen, helium, listen lithium, BBC, beryllium, boron and carbon, news, nitrogen, on oxygen, Friday, fluorine, and night is neon. Okay, we come down to the next one, that is the next 10. Sodium. So see, as I'm writing, you can think about that hint what I told you. Sodium, magnesium, aluminium, silicon, right? So we're done with 4. Phosphorus is P. Okay, sulfur is S. Right? We're done with 6. Sodium, magnesium, aluminium, phosphorus, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur. Now we come down to the next one, chlorine. That is Cl, argon, Ar, potassium and calcium. Okay, yes, so these are the next 10. Okay, again let's try what hint can be used over here. Out of the next 10, okay, out of these next 10, there is only one noble gas, so I remove the noble gas, that is argon. So now when I talk about the first 20 elements, how many noble gases do you know? 3. How many noble gases do you know? 3. So 3 examples of noble gases you need to know. That is helium, neon and argon. This is learned with the symbols. Right? Okay, so argon gone. Let's check if there's any metalloid. Yes, there is one metalloid from the first, from the 11 to 20. So that is silicon. So I remove silicon. So that is Si, which is gone, and that is a metalloid. Okay, now you can blindly apply the rule what I told you. All those who are ending with yum go in metals. All those who are not remaining will be going in non-metals. Chalo, let's check. Sodium, yes, goes in metal. Magnesium goes in metal. Aluminium goes in metal. Phosphorus goes in non-metals. Sulfur non-metal. Chlorine non-metal. Got it? And potassium, yum, that is metal, and calcium is metal. Okay, so that becomes a very easy way to classify the first 20 elements. Okay, but remember to remove the noble gases and the metalloids first. Okay, so there should not be any problem in classifying the first 20 elements. Okay, so now when they ask you classify, they can ask you a question to classify the first 20 elements. So you know which is classified how. Okay, so you will be learning the first 20 elements and then classifying according to the rule. Or else what you can do is you can write the first 20 elements, write quickly, that is with symbols you can write that. Okay, if they ask you. Then out of that you pick up the noble gases. There are 3 noble gases, that is helium, neon and argon. Remove them. 2 metalloids, that is boron and silicon. Remove them, 5 gone. Now out of the rest 15, all those which will be ending with yum will go in metals, and all those remaining one will be coming in as non-metals, right? So I'm sure you've understood the classification of metals, non-metals, metalloids and noble gases with their respective properties. Okay, now also given in your textbook, okay, you'll also find, okay, so the first 20 we know how to classify, but we can also learn a few more extra. Okay, so a few more extra have been given in your textbook on page number 19. Okay, so I'll just quickly read them out from the textbook. Okay, so we have learned the first 20, and there are many more metals, non-metals, noble gases and metalloids. Okay, so we'll just quickly see those. Okay, so I can also help you with the symbols if you do not understand all of that. The list is given over there. Okay, so the first one, okay, if you have the textbook, you can refer that on page number 19. Metals which are being given over there is potassium. Okay, we already know potassium, which has a symbol K. Sodium, Na. Calcium, Ca. Magnesium, Mg. Aluminium is Al. Okay, now these 4 we have already studied over here, right? Now other than this also there are metals, okay, so which have been given over there, that is zinc, Zn, iron, Fe, lead is Pb, copper is Cu. Okay, so you can learn any of them. So in your exam they might ask you name 4 metals. You can also learn from the first 20, or if you want you can write any extra. So that's the reason I'm just reading the chart for you. Okay, now mercury is Hg, silver is Ag, platinum is Pt, and gold is Au. Okay, so this is an extra table which has been given to you. Okay, so what we can do is we can also learn this table of metals, what is given over there. Okay, now I'll just quickly give you one hint of learning that metals table. Okay, see what is given over here. Okay, if you check, this is the series what is given over there. Okay, just a very quick one. Katrina ne car mangi, Alto Zen Ferrari, Firbi Q Milli silver plated Audi. That's the series. Actually, this is the metal reactivity series what they have given. Okay, which you will be studying in your 9th standard, but I've just already told you about it. Okay, so that's the series and that's the mnemonic to learn it. Okay, so that is the first the metals series what have been given over there. Okay, non-metals we quickly see that. Okay, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, also carbon, sulfur. Okay, silicon does not come in metalloids over there, non-metals over there, so you just can cancel that, and phosphorus. Okay, also in metalloids we already have studied boron and silicon. You can learn a few more, that is germanium, Ge, you learn extra, arsenic, that is As. Okay, antimony is Sb, tellurium is Te, polonium is Po. Okay, and we come down to the noble gases: helium, neon, argon, krypton, that is Kr, xenon is Xe. Okay, and the last one is radon, that is Rn. Okay, so with that we have finished the classification of elements, and we've learned extra examples also, and I taught you the trick to learn this. Okay, so what you can do is you can go through the first 3 pages of the chapter. I have finished that much. Okay, and we'll be continuing soon with the next pages, okay, in the next video. Okay, so please make sure that you learn all the examples, right, with the proper symbols, and go through what we've done in today's video. Okay, till we meet again, thank you everybody.